This is Dr. Athar Mansoor from Tracks. So today, Daniyal is with us again, and hope you know that Daniyal has previously made with us few videos on his personal, especially his educational experience and his traveling experience. He had one video with us on his master's degree experience in the US. He did his Master of Public Policy from Texas A&M, from the Bush School. And he also made a video with us on his visit to Baku in Azerbaijan. And then he made an interesting video with us on the etiquettes of traveling, air travel. So I would request all of you, and I would urge you to kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel and watch his interesting videos. So Daniyal is with us today, and he's going to share with us his experience of working in the corporate sector of the US. So I would like to tell the viewers here that Daniyal, after his master's degree from the Bush School, got very interesting opportunities to work in the US corporate sector, and he stayed there for roughly around 5 years, a little less than 5 years, between 4.5 to 5 years. And he accumulated a very interesting experience there. Then he moved back to Pakistan, but because he was a graduate student, he went there for a master's degree after doing his undergrad from Pakistan, and he found the job in a very interesting manner. And in a future video, we are going to get some insights from Daniyal about his experience of how he used LinkedIn to find job in the US's very highly competitive market. So stay tuned for that video, and I hope we are going to do it in the next 1 to 2 weeks, and that will be a very interesting video too. Anyways, coming to today's video. Daniyal, I understand that you have worked in a couple of, or maybe multiple companies in the US after your Master of Public Policy degree, and public policy is a very interesting subject. We have covered a lot on it. I am myself a PhD in public policy, and Daniyal is Master in Public Policy. So it's a very interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary field, and it lets you go into the areas of economics, politics, history, anthropology, sociology, and so many statistics, so many things you cover in public policy. So my understanding is, Daniyal, that you have worked in at least 2 companies in the US, and you found it, as I told the viewers, in a very interesting manner, but not about how you found the jobs. But let's come to what were give us the brief overview of what was your experience, where were you in the US, what were the companies, how long did you work with each one of the companies? So please tell the viewers about your overall experience.
Thank you, sir. Rightly pointed out. So I graduated in 2018 from Texas A&M University with a master's in public policy. Then from 2018 to 2022, I worked in the US corporate sector. And I was very fortunate enough that I was able to land employment with big companies. I worked with 2 Fortune 500 companies, which included Oracle and Monsanto, which has been renamed to Bayer. And then I worked for a highly competitive consulting firm, which was RSM. So my first job right after graduation was with Monsanto. That was in St. Louis, Missouri. Then I worked there for around less than a year. Then I moved to Oracle, which is in California, Redwood City, California. And finally, my third job was with RSM, which is based in Texas. So all in all, I've had a very good time in the US. I would just like to let the viewers know that my first job, my first salary was around $64,000 per year, which roughly is equivalent to $5,000 a month. I was very happy at that time. I even bought a car. I visited around 13 different states. I went to Mexico. By and large, my experience in the US corporate sector was very fulfilling. I'll talk about it later on. But all in all, I really enjoyed it. It was a good ride. And I'll just share the details with you.
Right, Daniyal. Thank you so much, Daniyal, giving the viewers an overview of the 3 companies in which you worked, and also very candidly and frankly sharing your first salary. So there is a saying that never ask a boy his wage and a girl her age. But you very openly shared your salary, which is very good. And in fact, I think it's a very reasonable to start with around 60K, more than 60K. And I hope, because I think you were a bachelor at that time also, you were not married. So taking home 5,000 was, I think, good enough money to survive in the US's competitive market. And I would say, because you were in Missouri for your initial job, and I think Missouri is not that expensive a state like New York, and on eastern side there are many expensive states, and even on western coast of the U.S. But later on, you moved to California, which is, I think, a little expensive in comparison to Missouri. Anyways, then I'll please share with the viewers your core experiences. So 4 or 5 major core experiences which you took out of the US market, because you moved back to your home country. So you must have experienced something which were really, which would be really interesting for the viewers to know.
Yes, sir. Sir, so I'll start off with these are my personal experiences. One can agree or disagree with it, but this is what I felt I wanted to share with the audience. So, first is the feedback culture. So, in the US, your feedback is highly encouraged. I remember my first manager, when I presented some report to him, he said that it's a very good report, but let me tell you everything that is wrong with it. So, he was very open to feedback. He was very receptive to feedback, and he encouraged feedback. So in the US, the one good thing I find about the US is that they're very receptive to feedback. They encourage feedback, and it's in Pakistan. I felt that there's a certain level of hesitation between the manager and employee, but that is not present in the US. It's very frank and candid, and so feedback is encouraged. Second is celebrating the wins. I remember when I was at Oracle, I think we closed a deal, and the entire team went out to party. It was Friday, and Friday, and we took half day off, and then entire team, I remember, including my senior manager, went. Although it was still work hours, but we were encouraged to celebrate small wins, and I think these small wins set the stage for big wins. So you celebrate the small wins in the US, which is a very good point. Third is your diversity of thought. I feel that in the US, as I mentioned, you're encouraged to speak from an intern to an associate to a manager, even to a director. When we're all sitting in the same room, everyone is supposed to talk. It doesn't matter even if you're an intern. I've probably spoken many times in front of my senior director. I can probably not even think about doing this in Pakistan, but in the US, this feedback system and this diversity of thought is appreciated. So this then open door policy. When I was in Oracle, I once went ahead and just directly went to my senior vice president's office. Now this is a guy who is probably third in Oracle's hierarchy. He's probably earning close to $1 million, but he had that open door policy. There were no guards in front of his office, no red tape or bureaucracy. I just went in. I wanted to seek some feedback on my career, and he was very open about it. He gave me 15 minutes of his valuable time. So I felt that this is something that is very good about the US system, that your open door policy. Then, sir, focus on mental health. When I was at RSM, we were given a personal coach. We could discuss anything with them, be it work related, be it professional, be it personal. We were encouraged to talk about our personal issues if we wanted to. Basically, the goal was that unless your personal life is not going well, your professional life will suffer. So they gave us coaches. We were encouraged every month. We used to check in with them. They used to ask us about work, about our professional commitments, personal commitments. So that is something, when you open up to people, then I think there's more space to communicate, and that is something I liked about it. Then learning, the focus on learning. I remember at RSM, it was part of our work hours, because we have to account for every work hour. So I think every month we had to spend 4 work hours on learning something, be it a new course, new certification, or going to a seminar. They used to pay us to go to seminars, attend conferences, because the goal is to enhance your professional development. That was something I really liked about the US, that they encourage you to venture outside of your work and enhance your personal development. And finally, I would say work-life balance. My last job was at an accounting consulting company, and in America, the tax season you have to work close to 80 hours a week. When we were working 80 hours a week, I remember we were served dinner, and the dinner was, I mean, a very luxurious dinner. We were, you know, I think we had. I had an allowance of $60. I could order anything within $60. So that was the incentive they gave us. There were free snacks in the office, free lunches, free dinners, especially during those 3 months, because they encourage us to, the policy goes that you have to work hard and then you have to uh, play hard also. So uh, this was something, we used to leave office around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, but obviously we were well compensated, we were well fed. So these are some of the reasons I felt are distinguish the US culture from anywhere around the world, and this is something I wanted to share with the audience.
Daniel, thank you very much. I think, viewers, these are very important aspects which Daniel has just dilated upon, especially taking care of health in this systematic or systemic approach towards a person's mental well-being, physical well-being, taking care of his or her physical needs. For example, just Daniel mentioned how they very beautifully took care of their food requirements, their compensation, then open door policy, then diversity point of view of disagreeing and putting your point of view across and disagreeing with someone in a very civilized manner. I think these are few very good experiences which one should know, that why US is considered as one of the best countries to work in terms of corporate sector. My next question, Danyal, is you were an international applicant. You were a Pakistani citizen. You still are a Pakistani citizen. And you just spent about a couple of years doing your education. And then you landed in Fortune 500 companies. I think it's amazing. And it's something which everyone should be, everyone dreams of working for Fortune 500 companies. But still, I think you must have faced some challenges in landing in those jobs. What were the major challenges or major stumbling blocks which might have demotivated you for a couple of weeks or hours or days, but that viewers should know about it?
Sure, thank you for asking this. I feel that despite all the achievements, this is something a lot of people can relate to. Life was always not very easy in the US, especially in the corporate sector. First, you have to manage that imposter syndrome. I mean, however qualified you are, you still feel that, when you're working with American people, with Ivy League graduates and working professionals, they are probably better than you. We have this mentality, and I passed through the same mentality. I remember during my first job, I was hesitant to open up to people. I just thought that they were better than me, although I was a master's and a lot of my colleagues were bachelors. But we this is unfortunately, this is our mentality that we are probably not good enough. I face that too, and I feel you just need to keep on going. You need to enhance your skill set, mingle along well with your colleagues, and this is very normal. The only way you can beat that is communicate openly with your employees, with your fellow friends, and just stay in the process. So first was managing imposter syndrome. Then second, intense competition, as you mentioned. The demand for jobs in the US is overwhelmingly high. There are a lot of applicants, qualified applicants for entry level jobs. So that is something you have to cater to. So for that, the advice is obviously work on yourself. Make sure that you study hard in graduate school or even bachelor's, and then try to reach out and meet people. Initially, every job is tough, whether you're starting off as an intern or as a general manager. The only way forward is to be consistent, keep going on, and then hopefully things will be better. Then third, sir, gelling in with colleagues. As you know, like for example, when I went to the US, I mean, the only sport I wanted to talk about was cricket. But unfortunately, in the US, not a lot of people know about cricket. They're crazy about basketball, baseball, and some other sports. So initially, that was the problem because they didn't know about cricket. I didn't know about basketball. So whenever we were spare, there was nothing to talk about. I mean, I was shy, I was underconfident. But gradually, with the passage of time, I started taking interest in their lives, started asking about their high schools. They asked me about Pakistan. And, one thing I've realized is generally, we are afraid that to tell that we're from Pakistan, but Americans are very open-minded. They love to talk about new countries because the majority of Americans haven't traveled outside their country. So they like to talk about your country. They want to know more about their culture, special gifts. I used to bring in gifts for my colleagues whenever I went back home. So you need to gel in with your colleagues. Otherwise, it's going to be a very lonely road. And finally, sir, as I mentioned, in America, the culture is very collaborative. You can't take decisions single-handedly, whatever position you are. So initially, that was a challenge because in Pakistan, whenever a manager says something, that is final. So it took me some time to adapt to that culture. But all in all, after 1 to 2 years, I realized how system works, and I gelled in well. And hopefully, I think I am in a much better position now.
Thank you, Daniel. I think these are important challenges which one must understand. There are cultural differences, social, economic, political, and how the society operates. So, if you are an international applicant and you have not spent much of your time, especially your upbringing has not been in the US, then you might face these challenges. Last question, Daniel. What are the few key takeaways for people who aspire to work in the US market, who would like to go there, study there, and then build their professional experiences there?
Yes, sir. So I'll talk about three most important one. First is building relationships and communication. So there's a saying which says that your network is your net worth. So the biggest lesson I give to people who are aspiring to work in the US is to develop the communication skills. You can be an Einstein, but unless you have good communication skills, you have that ability to talk to people, build that relationship, you will find it hard to succeed in the American market because unlike our culture, American culture is very collaborative. They like to talk to people, they like to engage. So I would say is start mixing in with people during your grad school, start going to conferences, start talking to people. This helps because in the corporate sector you are just one member of your team. So unless you have that ability to talk to people, engage, network, you will suffer. So first, develop your networking skills, communication skills. Number two is taking ownership. One thing I liked about the American system is that they will reward you for taking ownership. If you're given a certain responsibility, you have to ensure that you meet that. You will be rewarded. If you're not taking ownership, then eventually I feel you will start to fade away because as I mentioned, it's a very competitive field. Unless you take ownership and deliver results, you will suffer. So it is important to take ownership, work hard, and deliver results. And third, sir, I would say dream big and work very hard. Initially, when you're starting off as a career, most probably you don't have much responsibilities in terms of family, in terms of others. So the first 5 years, I would say, is work very hard. It doesn't matter if you don't leave office at 5 o'clock. It's okay to work till 6 7 o'clock. It's okay even to work on the weekends, especially during those 3 4 years, because you're building your base. Once you have built your base, then you can relax. But I would say is to we talk about the American dream. The American dream is based on hard work. So there are no shortcuts. The first 3 4 years will be hectic. You will have to make sacrifices for your career. But one thing I tell you, if you work hard, put in the effort, develop good networking skills, you will be rewarded. And America is probably the best place in the world to build a career. So these were my two key takeaways.
Grateful, Daniel, for openly, candidly, and frankly sharing your work experience, your life in the US, and how you built your career there. And viewers, as I have mentioned at the beginning of this video, please subscribe to our channel because another interesting video is coming from Daniel in the next few days or weeks, maybe in a couple of weeks maximum, about how he used LinkedIn, which is one of the most popular social media platform for professionals, for connecting professionals globally, locally, and the way you present yourself on LinkedIn can be really critical, and you can also find good opportunities by aligning yourself by understanding how you align with a particular job or employment opportunity. So we are going to do a video on that. But Daniel, thank you again for this very interesting and engaging video on how you landed at Fortune 500 companies and what were the major strengths of the US system in terms of private sector, corporate sector, and what challenges one can face. So viewers, thank you again for watching this video with Daniyal Zahid. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Stay tuned for more Join Tracks.